Guys, welcome to Mr. Investor Real Estate Dojo. Okay? Today what we're going to talk about is what to do whenever you're on the phone with the seller. What should you ask? A lot of my mentor students ask me, hey, do you have a script? I don't know what to say when I'm on the phone with the seller. So I went and basically made a script through all the trial and errors that I've gone through and basically handed that to you guys. Now I passed the ball to you. Now it's time for you guys to go and make a touchdown, okay? So let's go ahead and just dive into it. All right, what the script is about. Now, I don't want to say it's a script. I just want to say it's a questionnaire form because, I don't want the conversation to be question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, okay? It's very crucial that it's not like that because there's no rapport building. And the whole goal here is for you to build rapport with the seller. And to do that, you need to really connect with them and position yourself as someone that does care. And you should really care, guys, because in this business, we're solving people's problems. And you really have to care to solve a problem. I mean, a problem is not easy to solve, okay? A problem is a problem. That's why it's called a problem. And when I say problem, people think it's easy. No, it's not easy, guys. It's extremely hard. That's why there's not that many problem solvers in life, okay? Sounds easy. All right, but it's extremely hard, okay? Now, I'm going to show you how to do it. You guys are going to be able to do it, but don't go into it thinking it's easy, okay? Because it's not, but you can do it. I have faith in you that you will do it, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to hold your hand, and we're going to make it happen, okay? So, in my other videos, I explained to you guys how to build rapport, but I'm going to quickly go through it. Okay, rapport building is about asking open-ended questions, and what you're going to do with those open-ended questions is that the seller's going to give you responses like A, B, C, D things, and then you're going to take A out of that story, and if you have something similar with the seller, and then you're going to reach out there and connect with the seller and say, hey, Mr. Seller, somehow I'm just like you, okay? So refer back to the previous modules that are going to be coming that's going to explain how to build rapport, okay? So just know that for a nutshell, there's open-ended questions and there's closed-ended questions, and to build rapport you need to ask open-ended questions. And in my seller form, I've included many open-ended questions where you're able to build rapport. For example, Mr. Seller, tell me what do you really like about your property? Or Mr. Seller, tell me why do you want to sell your property? See, these are open-ended questions, okay? All right. So the whole goal of this questionnaire form is two things. One is to build rapport. And two, gather information to solve the seller problem. All right? This is your two goals in here. That's it. You're not going to negotiate with the seller. You're not going to talk to him and be negative about him. You're not going to tell them anything they don't want to hear at this time. In reality, you're going to tell them things that they do want to hear, like, hey, I want to buy your house. I am very, very confident that we're going to be able to create a win-win situation to buy your house. Things of that nature. So you don't want to be here arguing or being on the other side, per se, of the seller at any time in the negotiation or in the first introduction with the seller, okay? So now let's go ahead and talk about some of the questions that are in here. Now guys, it's very, 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 very important that you fill this questionnaire at 100%. Every question in here is there for a specific reason, because it's going to determine how we're going to slice and dice the deal or structure the deal. Every single question, okay guys? If it wasn't important, I wouldn't put it on there, okay? So a lot of times I see some of the information is not filled, and then I'm not going to be able to analyze it or show you how to analyze it 100% because the information is missing. So it's kind of like doing a jigsaw puzzle without having the actual box know what the image is. Okay, so it's very, very important, guys, that you fill it out 100%. Okay, there's a couple of questions in there that are not crucial, but all the other ones are 100% crucial. I would say all of it is crucial. Okay, so fill it out. Now, the first thing is when a seller calls, you want to go ahead and put the date on there, and you want to definitely ask them how they heard about you, okay? Because advertisement is not free. It costs a tremendous amount of money to get the phones to ring, okay? Or if you're not putting money in right now, it's going to cost sweat equity, all right? So you want to know the date and how they heard about you. And the date is very important too, because, you want to be able to benchmark and follow up with these people and see when they hatched. And if you put the date today and they hatched 12 months later, then you start realizing that follow-up does work, because look, Bob called you today and 12 months later, that's when he was totally motivated and he baked and you were able to harvest, okay? Some of the basic questions that you need from the seller is, of course, their name, their email address. When I say for their email address, I say, hey, Mr. Seller, what is a good email address so I can send you a written offer? Because I always like to give my offers in writing, and that way I'm able to have their email so I can give them the offer in writing. Okay, I definitely want their cell phone number. Okay, very important. Not really their home, but mostly their cell phone number. Okay, and I'll explain to you why we want their cell phone number. We could get a hold of them. We could send them text. Text is very, very important, guys. People respond to text even faster than they do with phones. Excuse me. You definitely want the address. Okay, why do you need the address? Because you need to do a CMA. You need to know what the house is worth. You also want to do that for your follow-ups when you start sending out to them letters, okay, things of that nature. All right. Then the question number one, and this questionnaire form is basically the way I would ask the seller the information, okay? This in the exact same order, okay? So I would ask him, hey, Mr. Seller, what is your name? I'm Mike with Mr. Investor. What is your name? He tells me his name. I say, hey, what is a good email address I can send you my cash offer to? Okay, I already have his cell phone. I say, hey, is this your cell phone? I'll reconfirm it with them. What is the address so I could run the comps while I'm talking to you? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, then I go and say, hey, Mr. Seller, tell me a little bit about your property. Okay, now he's gonna tell me, hey, it's a 2-bedroom, blah blah blah. Why he's telling me that stuff? It's 1,200 square foot. I'm writing that information down. If he doesn't tell me something that I need to know in that information, that's when I ask him after he finishes talking. I don't interrupt him, guys. This whole aspect is, remember, rapport building. And majority of rapport building comes from listening, guys. Listening, not talking. Listening, okay? Now, on the question number one, tell me a little bit about your property. It's very, very, very important that we know what year it was built. It's very, very important that we know what year they purchased it, okay? Because that's going to let us know how much equity they have if we do reverse engineering with the math, okay? I can show you how to do that down the line. And it's very important for us to know if this house is vacant, or if the seller's living in there, or if it's being rented out, okay? So don't skip anything, all right? Then the next thing you want to do is very important that in the same question is ask the seller, how much do you want for the property? We need to know this up front, okay? It doesn't matter what they want for it, but we need to get that number off their chest. So once they disclose that information out, you're gonna write that information in there. Majority of times you ask them the next question, do you know what your tax value of the property is? A lot of times they do know it. If they don't, no big deal. You'll figure it out, and I'll show you how to do that, okay? You're not gonna ask them about the rentals. You're not gonna ask them about the Zillow, Trillia, Redfin, things of that nature. Those things is for you. So once you get off the phone with the seller, you need to get online and get those basic numbers, okay? Because guys, you gotta respect realtors, okay? You gotta respect brokers. You cannot constantly send them, hey, can you give me a CMA? Can you give me a CMA? Can you give me a CMA? Because a real good CMA is gonna take 30 to an hour to do, okay? And so you gotta respect realtors' time, and you can't just constantly ask for stuff when we don't even know what the motivation of the seller is. We don't even know if this is a deal that we can, want to do. So if we don't have a motivated seller, then there's no reason to do so much sweat equity and get the team involved and why you could do some of this preliminary search yourself. You can type it in Zillow. For example, if you type it in Zillow and it says it's worth 100 and the seller's telling you he's willing to give it to you for 60 or 70 or even 80 or even 90, without even any negotiation, hey, that might be a good deal, guys. That you might want to roll up your sleeve and do more due diligence, okay? But if you type it in Zillow and the seller's telling you, hey, the Zillow says it's 100 and the seller's telling you, hey, they want 120, I will still do my due diligence, especially if I'm new, but I might not run out there and look at the property until I look at the tax roll and I do some other research before I tie up my time further, okay? So, in a nutshell, we're not really worried about the numbers, we're worried about building rapport, okay, at this phase. And if there's motivation, and that's what we're looking for, motivation, the numbers don't really matter, guys, because our job is to solve the customer's or the seller's problem, okay? And that's what our job is. And as long as we do that, we're going to get the deal. Now, talking about motivation, the next question that I have is all about motivation, okay? We ask the seller open-ended question. Why do you want to sell why do you want to sell your property, Mr. Seller? What is your situation? And then be quiet. Let them talk, okay? Let them talk. If they're very brief, from my experience, they're really not that motivated, okay? A motivated seller is going to be like, okay? And that's exactly what you want, okay? You want them to be giving you a lengthy explanation, okay? Now, when they're doing do not disrespect that. This is an opportunity for you to listen. This is an opportunity for you to really connect with the seller. This is an opportunity for you to solve the seller's problem, because they're just telling you their symptoms and that's not it. Your job is to identify the symptoms and then find where the smoke or where the trouble may be, and then dig for it till you find the problem, okay? Because the symptom is not the problem, okay, guys? There's a problem and then they cause the symptoms, okay? So they're only going to tell you the symptoms by opening the question, and it's your job to identify and find the problem and solve the problem, not the symptoms, but the problems, guys, okay? A lot of people try to solve the symptoms, okay? But it's a lot easier if you're solving the problem, okay? You can make a deal solving the symptoms, but, for example, if you have a cold, do you just want to take a pill to alleviate the symptoms, but you're still sick tomorrow, or do you rather not have the sickness? All right, so question number one, what's your situation, is a very good, open-ended. They're going to give you a lot of information. This is the time when you listen and you connect with them, okay? This is a very good question. You got to connect with them, okay? If you can't do that, you're not building rapport. The next question, number two, is very good too. It says, if my cash offer worked for you and me, when do you want to move out? So basically what we want to know is that if we're ready to buy this house and we're able to work something out and create a win-win situation, is the seller ready to move out tomorrow? Have they already moved out? Do they need 30 days? Do they need 6 months? Do they need 2 years? And that's very important, guys, because if the seller's not ready to move out today or very quickly, then they're not ready to move right now. Their motivation is not that high. I mean, they might be motivated, some symptoms, but it's not to the baking or the harvest part, okay? So that's more of a follow-up type of deal, and I'm not going to run out there to look at their house right now, and I wouldn't recommend it unless other questions reveal that they are motivated, they just need help finding a new home. Where, again, that real estate briefcase, that's where that comes in, because if our job is to solve the seller's problem. If we're able to help the seller move, and that's what's holding them back, see, then you get the deal faster. And it's all about getting the deal faster. That's why I personally provide sellers with free move. I personally help sellers find homes. I refer them out to the real estate company. And I do even though that I don't get paid for that kind of stuff, okay, but it's not about those little things. It's about solving the seller's problem so I can get the real goal, okay? you know, the real gold nuggets is what I'm looking for, not the gold powder, okay? In that same question, if my offer worked for you and me, when do you want to move out? You want to ask them, have they already found a place to live? Because if they say yes, that's a lot better. If they say no, then what you need to do is help them find a place to live into the realtor briefcase, because that's going to solve their problem, which is going to allow you to have the deal, okay? The next question is basically an open-ended question. It's not really anything for us. It's about them to tell us about what they like about the property, for them to reminisce about the good times they had in there, because right at this time, maybe it's not good times for them, okay? So, and the question says basically, what do you like about the property, okay? Open. And the question, please listen. Try to take a couple of things from that and connect with the seller, okay? If you have those things in common. The next question, which is number 4, is, has the house been listed with a realtor? And it's a very important question, guys. If the seller has listed their house with a realtor, it's even better for you. If they listed it for 6 months and it hasn't sold, it's even better for you, okay? If they haven't sold it, then it's even better for you too. It hasn't even hit the market, and if the seller's motivated, I will run out there. I will run out there, guys, okay, and look at the property. All right. Now, when you ask them, has it been listed, you want to know how long it was on the market. You know, sometimes they'll tell you the truth, sometimes they don't, but once we do the CMA, we're going to figure it out anyways. But it's important for them to realize, hey, my house has been listed for 635 days, or it's been listed for 300 days. For them to hear that and it didn't sell. And then I always like to ask them, you know, why do you think the property hasn't sold? And a lot of times, sellers with no equity are saying that, hey, it's the realtor's fault, it's somebody else's fault, it's this fault, you know. And what I've learned is that, I'm not even going to say that, but it's good to get it out of why are they not happy. If they tell you they're not happy with the realtor, hey, great, we're investors, we're not realtors, we can solve your problem, create a win-win situation, and whatnot. Now, question 5 is very, very important, okay? You want to ask the seller, what do you think needs to be done to the house to get it in tip-top shape? You know, what I say also is, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think your house falls into? You know, 1 being needs a lot of repairs and 10 being is, you know, move-in ready, okay? And a lot of people tell me 8. 8's the lucky number. 8, 9. And so then I'll let them talk, and you know, so open-ended question. But then I come back and ask those specific questions. For example, you know, and this is very important. Mr. Seller, when do you think the roof has been replaced last? And usually they'll say, well, I don't know, or it's been, if they do know, they'll tell you, hey, it's been 3 years ago, 5 years ago. If they don't know, or maybe it's been a while, and they give you a general answer, well, it's in good shape. I come back and I ask that question again. Hey, Mr. Seller, so when do you think the roof has been replaced? You know, if you might say, well, when I bought the house, the seller said it was he had already replaced the roof. Okay, but then I'll come back and ask the question again for the 3rd time. Okay, because I really want to make sure that he knows the condition of the house, because a lot of times they do and they're not thinking about it. Okay, so when I force them to think about it, you know, they may realize, hey, you know, it's already been 9 years or 10 years, and this is only a 10-year roof, okay? So, see, I thought it was, the scale of the house was the 8, but see, it needs a roof, okay? Same thing with the flooring, with the AC, with the foundation, and things of that nature. The first time you ask them, they might not tell you the answer the way you want it, so you got to ask them twice. You got to ask them 3 times, okay? And the way you do that, you ask the same question in a different way, but exactly the same question, okay? And you're going to get different answers. Number 6, are there any lawsuits on the property? Now, why do we need this question? Because last thing you want to do is put it on a contract and be at the title company, or you're about to wholesale it to an investor and then realize there's a cloud on the title, okay? What is the cloud? Listen to the other video about general real estate terms, okay? So you don't want to, you don't want to be getting the ball, almost running to the home run, and realize that, hey, I don't even have the ball, okay? So you don't want to do that. All right, and 50% of the sellers are straight honest with you. If they know, they'll tell you. They say, hey, there's a child support, or hey, there's back taxes, or hey, there's an HOA, or hey, I have a judgment against it. But other 50% may not know, or some of them just flat out lie to you guys. So what I do is once I get a deal on the contract, I always do a title search. It costs me anywhere from $100 to $150 to do a title search. But I do it because I want to make sure I got the ball before I start trucking down to the home run. Okay. Number 7, are the payments on the house current? Man, this is very, very important, guys. This is motivation. If they say no, or if they say yes, great. You got to make sure if they say the house payments are not current, you got to know, well, how many months is it behind? Is it 2 months? Is it 3 months? Because that's going to be a determining factor of what is our exit strategy down the line that we're going to implement to make money wholesaling this property, okay? Number 8, which it says, what is the monthly payments? A lot of students get that, but they don't get the B part about it, okay? And that says, does that include escrow for taxes and insurance? So what I mean is, on the question, what is the monthly payments? Is that PITI, which that means is it principal, interest, tax, and insurance, or is this just PI? Because if the monthly payments are $1,000 and it doesn't include escrow for taxes and insurance, then I have to consider that into it to be able to compare that with the rentals to see if the house is going to cash flow. So when we wholesale it to our investors, we could package it up better to let them know, hey, this is going to cash flow. So basically, all these questions are very important to determine our exit strategy. There's many different exit strategies, and different exit strategy depends on, is the house going to cash flow? Does the house have equity? What the story is. They need a lot of repairs. So it's very important that we fill this information out, because then we are able to structure 7, 8, 10 offers for the seller and create a win-win situation, okay? Now, you do want to ask the seller how much they owe on the loan, okay? You want to ask if there's only one loan. If there's 2 loans, you want to know on both of those loans. It's very, very important, guys. Now, if they tell you to go F yourself, then they're not motivated. Motivated seller does tell you that information all day long, every day. Now, we have to get the interest rate, because the interest rate is going to on the loan is going to determine, once again, what is our exit strategy, if we're going to do a wrap, if we're going to do an assignment, okay? So all this is very, very important, okay? So don't miss any of this stuff. And if there's 2 loans, then we need to know the interest rate on the second loan, what is the principal balance on the second loan, and if the second loan is current. Now, number 10 is a very, very another important question. And the question says, hey, are you just trying to sell your house and get out underneath this debt for what you owe on it? Okay? Guys, if they say yes to this, man, you got a very motivated seller there, okay? You really want to run out there and put it under contract, okay? Make sure you put yes or no or maybe. Sometimes they say maybe, and they give you a little answer like, hey, I want to make a little money, okay? So make sure you do that. And now question number 11 is very, very important, and question 11G is very, very important, guys, okay? These questions are going to basically determine if we're able to do terms with the seller, okay? I'm going to do a couple of videos on terms, but for right now, you don't want to tell the seller, hey, are you willing to do owner financing? Okay? You don't want to say, hey, do you want to sell via term? See, those are not really good things. So you're gonna say it in ways like this. Hey, if we could start making your monthly payments and keep making them until we sell your house, would that work for you, Mr. Seller? Or, hey, Mr. Seller, if I could start making your monthly payments month after month, so I'm able to sell your house, would that work for you? Okay? If the seller says yes, basically they're telling you they're willing to do owner financing or terms, okay? Sometimes the seller says, well, what does that mean? Then you go ahead and you ask them the question G, which says, well, if your house qualifies we have a program that we can start making your payments for you and continue making them until we find a buyer that will cash out your loan. If we could do that, would that work for you? Okay? So it's basically the same exact question as 11, but it's worded differently, okay? So you're basically asking the seller if they're willing to do owner financing or terms. If they say yes, boom, see, they're agreeing to that stuff. All right, so on the seller form, what you need to be working on is page 1 and page 2. Once you fill that out 100%, you take a picture, you text me, okay? Now, refer back to the deal workflow modules, and I'll explain to you what exactly needs to happen at each one of these episodes, from talking to the seller to me helping you analyze the deals to going into the seller's house and giving them a cash offer. Okay, now remember, this is all about building rapport. And also remember, if the seller doesn't like you, they're not going to give you the deal. Okay? So make sure you go out there and you connect, you position yourself as somebody that does care, and you should care, okay? Because this is a motivated seller, they're in a bad situation, and you're going to get paid or you're going to get rewarded by being able to solve their problem. And with my help, I'm able to give you a variety of different offers that you're able to give the seller to solve their problem. Okay? This is Mike with Mr. Investor. Thanks for watching.